Wisconsin missed out on a bowl game in 2024. What's the projection going to look like in 2025? We will take a look. Again, a schedule that's going to be even tougher this year. These are the projections for the last 4 seasons that we've done, again, with our formula. In 2021, they were projected to go 8-4. They did go 8-4. In 22, projected to go 7-5. They went 6-6. In 23, projected to go 8-4. They went 7-5, and then last year projected to go 7-5. They went 5-7. So again, in 21 it was right on the money, and then from the last 3 years, in 22 and 23, they were 1 game under the projection, and last year 2 games under the projection. So that would tell me that Wisconsin has been a bit of a disappointment the last 3 years. So let's see what this year gives us. And again, this is all based off of our tier rankings. This is a formula. It's a mathematical formula. There is no human element here, no predictions. We won't be doing predictions until after spring ball and all of that. So let's jump right in. Again, here's the schedule. This is the scale that we'll be using. So 40 to 60, those are games that are, you really could go either way. And those are games where, so Wisconsin is a tier 4 team. So if they play another tier 4 team, it's going to be in that range. If they play a tier 5 team, it's going to be 61 to 70% if it's at home. But if that game is on the road, then that becomes a 50-50 game. So that's kind of the way this works. And, it's really just one, I would say, guaranteed win, Middle Tennessee on September 6th. You feel like that one, Wisconsin should be, 18, 20 plus point favorites. And then you got Miami of Ohio, a pretty good team out of the MAC. We're putting that one actually in the blue. I think Wisconsin will clearly be favored by a couple touchdowns, 14 to 17 points, maybe in that range. But still, it's week 1. It's a good team out of the MAC. I don't think that's a guaranteed win by any means. Wisconsin should win, but like I said, it wouldn't be a shocker if they were to get upset in that game. And then we go to, who do we have next? Well, we've got Maryland. So Maryland is in tier 5. Wisconsin, it's here above them. This game's at home. That's why this one is in the purple. So a 61 to 70% chance that Wisconsin wins this one, again, based off of our formula. And then we go to the other side. So 3 games where they'll be favored. They won't be clear favorites in any other games. There are some 50-50 games, which we'll get to. But going to the other side, I think you've got Oregon. This is a tier 1 team. This game is also on the road. That's why it is in the red. So Ohio State's also a tier 1 team, but that game is at home for Wisconsin. So it winds up in the same spot as Alabama, Michigan, and Indiana, tier 2 teams that will be on the road. So these are going to be very tough games for Wisconsin to win. Alabama, Michigan, Ohio State, Oregon, Indiana. If they don't win those 5 games, though, if they're able to win the rest of these games, there is a path for this team to get to 7-5 without pulling off any huge upsets. But I think it will take, at least one upset, and that's where we've got Illinois and Minnesota. Actually, 2 upsets it would take. Wisconsin, probably about a touchdown underdog in these 2 games. Minnesota on the road. This is a team that's a tier above Wisconsin. Illinois, a couple of tiers above Wisconsin. But this one's at home, so that helps. But again, these are games that'll be tough for the Badgers to win. If they're going to have a successful season, though, I think they have to win both of these games. If they're going to get to 7-5, or maybe even better than that, they have to win these 2 games, which again will be very tough. And then you've got Iowa and Washington. So these teams are, so Iowa's in tier 3. So they're a tier above Wisconsin, but it's at home for Wisconsin. That's why it's a 50-50 game. Washington in the same tier as Wisconsin. That's your one true 50-50 game. Really a game that could go either way. So if they beat Miami, Ohio, they beat Middle Tennessee, they beat Maryland, and they win both of their 50-50 games, that still only puts them at 5-7, still missing out on a bowl game. So they're going to have to pull off the upset against Illinois and Minnesota, and again, take care of business in all of the rest of those games. That's their path to get to 6-6, but the odds would say that they're not going to get there, that they will not get to a bowl game. The projected record for Wisconsin is actually 5-7. So again, projection would tell us that they're going to win against Miami and Middle Tennessee, and basically they're not going to win against Alabama, Michigan, Ohio State, Oregon, Indiana, or maybe they pull off one upset there and kind of split the other games. That's kind of the way this works out. And again, the math does come out to 5-7. So same record as last year. Another disappointing season. It is a brutal schedule, though. But you have to wonder, if they do go 5-7, will Luke Fickell still be the head coach at Wisconsin?